Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show. It is a Wednesday edition, September 10, 2025. It's episode 881 of our gatherings together on Super Talk. Whether you're listening on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, or perhaps on Talk Television, we thank you for that. That's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're on a variety of platforms, and we thank you. Perhaps you're listening on your radio on 99.7 FM. We thank you for that as well. Sad news, if you're just joining us on radio or just joining us on any of those platforms and perhaps have not been around a communication device, I have sad news for you. Earlier today, it was breaking news that Charlie Kirk at an event, at a Turning Point USA event in Utah, at Utah Valley University, was shot during an event that he holds. He held these events on college campuses all across the United States of America. And during the event, about 30 minutes into the event, he was shot from long range by what we believe to be a rifle. It was believed to be from a distance of roughly 200 yards. He was hit in the neck, and sadly, Charlie Kirk did not make it. He died after being taken to the hospital and after resuscitation efforts failed. He was 31 years of age. He leaves behind, of course, a beautiful wife, Erica, and children. Our thoughts, prayers, hearts go out to his family, his circle of friends, and all of the United States of America. I have no idea where we go from here. It occurred to me while we were listening to the top of the hour news with Ken Weaver, and Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. He's going to break in with any breaking news that we get from this story. It is the big story of the day, and I'm going to get to your telephone calls in a moment if you have any thoughts on it at 615-737-9986. And obviously, the entire team at Super Talk is communicating with one another on this story and using our sources to try to get as much information as possible to you, the listening public, the viewing public. It is especially heinous. Obviously, it goes without saying that political violence is unacceptable. It always has been. It always will be. What I will not cotton to, as my grandpa used to say, is this idea that we need to turn down rhetoric. Rhetoric and violence are two very, very different things. The America that I know and love was founded on rhetoric. Political rhetoric. Heated political rhetoric. Hot political rhetoric. Strong disagreements on the formulation of the United States of America and on the execution of the basic philosophical document that created the bedrock of this country, our Declaration of Independence. There were a lot of very strong feelings when this country started about how best to execute the concept of freedom and liberty and guaranteeing the rights of free men. And since our inception and all throughout our history, we have debated, and very rarely has it come to violence. I say rarely because the Civil War was obviously a point in time where the United States of America could not resolve our differences, and one part of the United States of America wanted to dissolve the political bands that tied it to another, and the other part said, no, you're not going to do that, and the war between the states began, and bloodshed was spilled. What hits hardest, obviously, I mean, it's difficult to wrap your mind around the idea that Charlie Kirk was shot because of his opinions. He was killed because of his opinions. We're in the free speech business. You're a part of that. You're in the free speech business. We're all in the free speech business. It gets worse when you consider how Charlie Kirk built his life. and why he founded Turning Point USA. I don't pretend to know as much as some, and I was not as close as some, even as close as our good, dear friend and colleague Chris Hand, who knew Charlie. But Charlie built the brand from his teenage years by standing on college campuses and engaging with people that disagreed with him with a smile on his face. Not in an angry way. He said, no, I think differently, and it's okay that I think differently, and you've been brainwashed to believe that it's not, but it is. Everything that Charlie Kirk stood for was about your ability to disagree with him. That doesn't mean that he doesn't think you're wrong. Of course he does. That doesn't mean that he doesn't want to turn you to his position. Of course he does. But he built everything that he was about based on the fabric that started America, and that was a good faith effort to engage in civil political disagreement and debate in the public square, literally on the campus, in the public square of the campus of colleges around this country. And so on the one hand, a man is dead. And the nation mourns, and more to the point, his wife and his children will never have their husband and their father. And we will not have that voice again. But on the other hand, this shoots through the heart of the very fabric of America. And I don't want to hear that he was angry or heated in his rhetoric. He had strong position on issues. Thomas Jefferson had strong political position on issues. John Adams had strong political positions on the issues. Abraham Lincoln had strong positions on the issues. And on and on and on it goes. Of course he did. But he built his life. The entire Turning Point USA platform was the concept that I'm going to go to where I know people disagree with me, and I'm going to engage with them in a polite and civil manner. And we might agree when we come away from that, and we might disagree when we come away from that, but that's what America is all about, is presenting differing points of view and challenging you to listen to my point of view and being challenged to listen to yours. And maybe learning a few things along the way and recognizing that it's okay to disagree. It's okay to be angry at the other guy because they have a different opinion than yours. We can still live together as Americans. We can still work together as Americans. And I don't know if that's true anymore. Does anybody else feel like we're going through a national divorce? I'm willing to talk to anybody. Anybody. I have made it a point, and it's just been inside of me in the 25 years now that I've been doing this radio format, that I'll talk to anybody about anything, as long as it is of interest to the people that I serve. That's you, right? So I don't care what letter you have behind your name. I don't care where you're coming from a political or socioeconomic background or ethnic background or whatever. Let's go. Let's engage. That's what it's all about. And I got to tell you that certainly the last 2 years, but I would suggest more like the last 5 or 6 years, people on the political left don't want to have those discussions anymore. And I don't know how to fix that. I wish I was smart enough to understand it. I know Charlie spent his life trying to bridge that divide. And some sicko bastard killed him. So where do we go from here? I'm not going to be like them. I'm not going to become them. I don't know how to bring them back. Do you? They're the ones engaging in violence, not me. I'm still sitting here. I'm still waiting for the discussion. And if Charlie were alive, he'd still be waiting for the discussion and waiting for the debate and waiting for the next point that you're going to make. And maybe disagreeing like hell with you on that point and hugging your neck afterwards. I'm not the one that's gone crazy. I'm not the one that's changed. And there are a lot of people that have a lot of answering to do in this country. But I'm not going to fall for the trap, the emotional trap that has been set right now. And I strongly beg of you not to fall for it either. I beg you not to fall for the trap. I know you're mad. I know you're angry. You're angry as hell. I don't blame you. There are people in America today that are begging for more violence. And we have to tell them no. We win because we have better ideas. We win because we have better solutions. We win because we believe in the Founding Fathers. We win because we believe in the words of the Declaration of Independence. We win because we agree that people get to live a life of their choosing in America. And so long as they're not taking action to violate the rights of me and of our fellow men, they get to do that. They get to be as wrong as they want to be. Don't fall for this trap. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. We'll get to your calls in a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We've got a full report on the murder of Charlie Kirk coming up. Also, a gunman at a high school in Colorado today. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, so we'll get to your calls as promised by me. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll do that in just a moment. I have several pieces of audio and video to share with you regarding some of the reaction coming out of the political left. I hesitate to do that right now. It almost feels beneath what has happened and beneath the memory of Charlie Kirk. That said, Brian Wilson's got an update for us regarding the shooter, and Brian's covering this story from his home base, and he's got a lot of eyeballs on a lot of sources that I don't. So, Brian, what do you got?
Well, it's just hard. When you're doing the show, it's hard to know what's going on, and I'm monitoring a lot of places. The Daily Mail is reporting that the individual who was arrested at the scene, who turned out not to be the shooter, apparently was saying some very troubling things in the audience, according to the Daily Mail. He said when he was taken into custody, he was urging the crowd to shoot Charlie Kirk.
Oh, gosh.
So he was saying something that got the attention of police, and they say the shot was fired. In the days ahead, we'll see the maps and the artwork and the graphics that it lay out that whole scene, just like we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania. There's apparently a building called, I want to say, the Lucy or the Luce Center, LOSEE Center. And they say the shot came from the top of that building. I'm looking at some videotape of, I believe this is a big white building. And they say the shot was only 200 feet away, less than a football field. So it was, as we've learned in Butler, that's not much of a distance for somebody with a rifle and scope. The other thing, and I must say, I had not seen it until just a few moments ago. The close-up video of the moment when he was hit by the bullet. It may be the most troubling thing I've ever seen in my life.
Don't watch it.
And I'm going to say to people, look, you really, really honestly, I feel like sometimes we in the news business have to look at this stuff so we can accurately report to you what we know. But if you don't need to see this, don't see it. It's really quite graphic.
Yeah, it's when it was first sent to me, Brian, my first thought was, I pray to God that this has been altered or graphically enhanced in some fashion. But you're right. It is one of those situations where you can't unsee it, and it's just. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and very, very quickly, half-mast. The flags at the White House have now been lowered to half-mast, and Trump has ordered that to be the case nationwide.
Thank you, Brian. Get in here anytime you find news that is of interest. We appreciate you. Pastor Alan Jackson, who now has a show on Sunday evenings on Super Talk 99.7 WTN with the World Outreach Church. He has offered this, and I'll say this, and we'll get to calls. Pastor Jackson says, every day we have is a gift from the Lord. What occurred on Utah Valley University campus today is a sobering reminder of that. Charlie Kirk was a bold truth teller, brother in Christ and friend. What he contributed to our culture, our country, and God's kingdom during his life will live on. His words will continue to impact the generations to come. Please keep his wife, Erica, and their young children in your prayers. Pray for a supernatural comfort, peace, and guidance that can only come from God. It's well spoken. Nicholas is next. Hello, sir.
Yeah. I'm a young conservative. I'm 24, and I'm sitting here in the car, and I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like we're just I feel like there's one option. I don't think I can say it on the air, but I don't know where we go from here. Besides, it's the only thing I can think of.
Nicholas, I don't know what you're talking about, but I will say this: that violence is not where we need to go. That's what the scumbags are doing. We win in the arena of ideas. We win by forcefully and proudly communicating our belief in this country, like Charlie did. We win by honoring his memory in that way. That's my opinion.
The only thing I have to say about that is that they keep getting away with stuff like this all the time. We arrest the one person that did it, we do that, but the people that celebrate what happened to him, he's really the one that brought me into the movement, which is why this really bothered. This really hit me. I don't think they should be able to get away with. I mean, it's free speech. They could say that, but I don't know. This is a hard thing to take. This is a hard thing to take.
I hear you, brother. I wish I had the words to say something that would make your pain go away. I don't pretend to, Nicholas. I wish I did. I feel you, and I understand. What I hear in your voice, and tell me if I'm hearing it wrong, is you're disillusioned.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. I can't. I'm a Christian. I can't imagine. Just because you disagree with somebody, I can't imagine doing that to somebody.
Well, we cannot go down that road where we respond to violence with violence. And I know that's emotionally, that's where I first went. I'm like, I said a lot of things that I can't say on the radio, right?
Right.
And you recognize that's not what Charlie stood for. He stood for an end to the violence. I mean, what I posted on my X page at Matt Murphy Show, one of the last posts that Charlie made was of that young lady in Charlotte, North Carolina, the fear on her face. And his post said simply, America will never be the same. And that was 16 hours ago that he posted that. And I said, Charlie's now gone, and I think this is a change in America. This is a moment that we have as an opportunity, and we should not lose it through the emotional pull toward lashing back out at those that have done this to us.
I understand.
But here's what I will leave you with, Nicholas, and not to get, and I know we got to get to news, Ken, and I apologize, but Nicholas, here's what I will leave it with. Here's what I would say. You said you're 24 years old?
Yeah.
Nicholas, you are Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Honor that. Honor that. Thank you. Every single one of you are Charlie Kirk. Every single one of us, Charlie Kirk. We are Charlie Kirk.
And stay away from the incendiary posts on social media.
Stay away. I'm not doing it, Ken. I had a list of reaction from MSNBC. I got J.B. Pritzker right now acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
Queued up and ready to go. And I don't want to do any of that because I don't want to inflame people that are already
there.
Emotionally on edge. So let me get to the news. I'm late for the news, and we'll get back to you, Dave and Larry and Buck. I pray God I find the words to help get us through this show. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As promised, we turn to our phone lines. 41 minutes after the hour. By the way, no nincompoops today, obviously, as it is a somber. It's been a somber afternoon, and I don't know where we go from here. Conservative activist, talk show host, podcaster, and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, is dead at the age of 31, killed by an assassin's bullet. That individual is not in custody. There were original reports, as Brian Wilson related, and Ken Weaver has related from the newsroom as well, that an individual was in custody. It turned out that person was not responsible for the shooting. And we've really got no idea where we are in terms of tracking that individual down. We saw initial reports that the shot came from some 200 yards away. Brian Wilson just reported from his sources that it was more like 200 feet. Now, once again, all of this is very fluid information, and in the modern era, we get information faster than ever before. It is at our fingertips and oftentimes wrong. So we try to filter that in real time. Sometimes we filter it out. Sometimes certain aspects of a story will creep through. And what we try to do is make you aware, hey, this is something that we're not exactly sure of. These are our sources. This is what they're saying. Things could change. That's all we can do. We get back to your calls and to Jeff, who is next. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Appreciate you guys taking my call.
Of course.
I'm really frustrated at this, and I know you guys on the radio can't. You're trying to calm the public, and you're trying to keep everybody calm, and that's the right thing to do. But with the politicians on the Democrat side, why can't they be held to a same standard as what you guys are held to, as far as not going out and trying to entice people to commit violence?
Well, here's what I will say, since you brought it up, because I have it pulled up. Do you want to hear it?
Yes. Yep.
Kamala Harris. I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we must all work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence.
Okay, but that's after the fact.
I understand.
Before the fact.
No, I understand. No, these are the same folks, and here's where I will go, and here's where I will agree with you, Jeff. And I could go on. Zoran Mamdani has one that he's put out. I was collecting them here. There's several other. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has one that she's put out, and they're all saying the same thing. But here's the thing. When you preach for the last, 7, 8 years that democracy is in peril, right? When you explain to the American people and your voting population that democracy's on the ballot and that you use this sensationalized rhetoric about how the other political side, right? There's us and them, right? And the other political side presents an existential threat to democracy. And you characterize it as desperate times. Times are desperate, they said, right? And then when that doesn't work, because that's what they were doing, 2020, the election cycle there was all about COVID. And in 2024, it was all about desperate times and democracy's on the ballot and Trump's an existential threat to the world, right? That didn't work. Trump won. We didn't buy that. So now what they've been saying is that violence is justified to stop an existential threat. And so you go from desperate times to desperate measures. And that's what I need to see condemned. I need to see a reflection on action points that have been made by the political left over the last 12 to 18 months regarding what needs to be, quote unquote, done because of Trump. What do you think, Jeff?
Right. Well, I think that's a start by holding them accountable. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that they feel emboldened that they can do it anytime they want to. As far as the congresswoman from California telling everybody to go out and riot and to push against the ICE department, they do it without restraint. And then people go out and they throw rocks at the police officers, and nothing is done. The local politicians or the mayor of the sanctuary cities say we're not going to prosecute anybody for that. I think that's all against the law, and I think those politicians should be held responsible for that.
I hear you, and I understand you, Jeff, and we will continue this discussion point. We'll get back to calls in just a moment. Brian Wilson joins us right now. He is monitoring all of the sources that he has at his fingertips and everything going on in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, I've got some information. There was a petition that was being run at the university there in Utah prior to his arrival, trying to get the administration at the school to cancel the speech by Charlie Kirk. And some of the comments that have been left there, I mean, I have a feeling these folks are going to get a visit from the FBI. Kevin on the petition wrote, "Stuff like this is why political violence exists in the U.S. You should be ashamed of yourselves." Let's be clear, said Andrew. You could take all of the politics out of this conversation. You would be left with a reprehensible human being who only exists to irritate and upset people. And then there's this from someone who identified themselves as Carter, posted just 6 hours ago. No tolerance for Nazis like Kirk. Stop the speaking or someone else will. Wow.
Yeah, you got to visit all of those people, right?
And
particularly
a lot of comments
that last
from
one.
people of the gay and lesbian community who were not happy about it. So there was a little controversy. There was a kerfuffle. To their advantage, to their I think the proper thing for them to do at the university was to have the thing go forward, and they did. But there was this thing floating around, and there were people on campus who were not happy. But I think that's probably true anywhere that Charlie Kirk goes. But this comment from Carter is a little troubling.
No question about it. Thank you, Brian, for that info. And we'll continue checking in with Brian all afternoon long. 49 after the hour. I want to slip one more in here. A lot of folks want to talk. Larry is next up with a comment about the death of Charlie Kirk. Hello, Larry.
Hey, Matt. Bear with me.
Take your time, buddy. Take your time.
When I heard that he had been shot, I was in tears. I was praying. And then when you guys reported that he had passed, I prayed for his family. And I posted on Facebook, please pray for Charlie's family. He has passed. I got a response from a liberal friend that I've known since high school that said, that's why only police officers and military should have guns. And I said, I responded and I said, not one of my guns has ever jumped out of my safe and shot anybody. And her response was, well, you're one of the few. And that was, I just thought that was such an ignorant comment at this time. Because I don't ask for prayers.
Yeah, I can't understand how some people jump over their humanity right into the political arena. I don't understand it sometimes, Larry.
I don't want any liberal killed.
No, I don't either. If you are not directly putting another human being in harm's way, and it is not an act of self-defense, I don't want anybody killed.
No. But
anybody.
That just, I mean, and of course she got a lot of blowback for that. But
well, hey, Larry, can I'm you're not just a listener of this show and a caller of this show. I consider you a friend. Can I talk to you as a friend for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Don't stay off social media for a little bit.
Well, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I love you, buddy, and hang in there.
All right, love you too.
All right.
Thanks, man.
And just y'all, I joke all the time about the X machine. I say, oh, it's a cesspool full of awful people saying awful things, and I love it. Ha, ha, ha. And y'all hear me. Yeah, the first half of that is true. It is. Anonymity.
It absolutely is.
Y'all listen to what I'm about to say. I've been saying this for years. Anonymity breeds cruelty.
Yes, sir.
And the ability to be anonymous or the perception of anonymity on social media breeds cruelty. It creates cruelty in people. And they come out of the woodwork to be cruel. So y'all just be careful and navigate carefully if you're on social media right now. We will continue to navigate your calls, your emotions, and your thoughts. It is 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.